Have you ever felt like there's more to life than meets the eye? Something inside you knows a deeper truth exists. And you're right. There's a truth about our reality that few know about, not by chance, but by design. This truth holds so much power that it would completely change our world if everyone understood it. Look around you. How many people do you know who are trapped in lives they swear they didn't choose? Brilliant people limited by scarcity, loving people surrounded by conflict, creative beings drowning in routine. They all deserve better, but it seems that reality conspires against their deepest desires. Why is this? The answer won't appear in the usual places. You won't find it in schools or mainstream media. There's a simple reason. The knowledge about how to consciously change reality is the greatest power a human being can have, and power, when concentrated, is rarely shared. What you're about to discover is the difference between two kinds of knowledge: external knowledge, that which is easy for everyone to understand, but rarely transforms lives, and internal knowledge, that which is reserved for those ready to understand its deepest implications. The truth about how to alter reality has remained hidden, because someone hid it in a secret vault, but because it requires a fundamental shift in how we see the world, a shift that many are not ready to make. Today we are going to cross that invisible line. We will talk openly about how you can consciously alter the matrix of your experience, not as a metaphor or an exercise in positive thinking, but as a real process based on principles that are constantly operating whether you know it or not. What makes this information so powerful is that once you understand how the relationship between your consciousness and your external reality works, you can no longer remain a victim of circumstance. The separation between observer and the observed disappears and a seemingly contradictory truth emerges. You are both the creator and the created. This revelation can be uncomfortable and entails a total responsibility that many prefer to avoid. It is easier to believe that we are insignificant pieces on a grand chessboard subject to forces beyond our control. But easygoing rarely leads to freedom, to change our reality. We first need to redefine what we mean by reality. The common view shows us an objective and fixed external world that we simply perceive. This idea suggests that we all see the same reality with minor differences based on our position or interpretation. But this understanding is limited and represents the greatest obstacle to our creative power. Reality is not a rigid stage where we act as simple observers. It is more accurate to describe it as a malleable field of consciousness that constantly responds to our internal state. Think of reality not as a solid structure, but as water that takes the shape of the container that holds it. In this case, the container is your mind, your state of consciousness. This fluid nature explains why people living in the same physical space can experience radically different worlds. It is not just a question of a positive attitude. Literally, every human being creates and inhabits their own version of the world. Although it may seem that we share the same planet, there are as many realities as there are people. Science is only beginning to explore this idea, although researchers such as Jacobo Grinberg already proposed that what we perceive as reality is really an interaction between our neuronal structure and a field that he called the lattice. These concepts challenge our normal understanding of the world. We have been taught to believe that we can only perceive what already exists, when the truth is that what we perceive is continually being co-created by our consciousness. Perception is not passive, it is a creative act. Think of the phenomenon of selective attention. Two people can be in the same room, but due to their different states of consciousness, they literally will not see the same elements. If your consciousness is tuned to abundance, you will naturally perceive opportunities that are invisible to someone tuned to scarcity. It's not that these opportunities will magically appear for you. They were always there, but only a consciousness aligned with them can perceive them. This radically transforms our relationship with problems. A problem is not an objective condition of the external world, but a discordance between your internal state and what you are experiencing. When you learn to alter your field of consciousness, what previously seemed like an insurmountable obstacle can either dissolve or transform into an opportunity for growth. This redefinition does not mean that you can simply wish a bag of money to appear in front of you, for example. Manifestation works within certain parameters that we can call natural laws, but even these laws are more flexible than we have been taught. What we consider impossible is mostly limited by our collective beliefs about what is possible. There is a universal creative force that is not only present throughout the cosmos, but dwells specifically within you. Spiritual traditions from around the world have recognized this truth for millennia, although they have called it by different names. Some call it divine spirit. Others use chi or prana, while ancient texts speak of the divine spark. Beyond the name, they all point to the same revelation. The same power that creates universes operates through your consciousness. There is a crucial difference between recognizing this force intellectually and experiencing it consciously. Most of us have been programmed to experience only a limited version of this power. This programming is not accidental. A humanity fully aware of its creative capacity would be impossible to control through conventional systems of authority. This programming explains one of the greatest contradictions we see in the spiritual world. People who worship an all-powerful creative force while living lives of powerlessness and limitation. The irony is that they externally honor a power that they deny internally. They have separated the Creator from creation, placing this force outside of themselves when in fact it is the very substance of their being. This separation creates the illusion that only some can prosper while others are destined to suffer. We see this when we observe people who effortlessly attract abundance while others constantly struggle with scarcity. The common explanation suggests that it is due to external factors, luck, privilege, connections, or talent, but it is all about something different. Each person is experiencing a reality that resonates with their internal state. Of consciousness, those who experience abundance have not been favored by an external force. They have aligned their consciousness with the frequencies of abundance. Those who experience limitation are not being punished, but are maintaining patterns of thought and emotion that resonate with scarcity. This is not about moral merit or punishment, but about the natural law by which like attracts like. This brings us back to the beginning, as within, so without. This is perhaps the most accurate formulation of how the creation of reality works. It does not suggest a vague relationship between your thoughts and your experience. It establishes a direct correspondence between your inner state and your outer reality. Your material world is literally an externalized reflection of your consciousness. There is a universal language by which consciousness communicates its intentions to the field of reality. This language is fundamentally built around two simple yet infinitely powerful words, I am. This seemingly simple statement represents the most potent command you can direct to the fabric of reality, acting as a seal that imprints your vibrational frequency into the matrix of infinite possibilities. When you speak or think the words I am followed by any quality or condition, you are not simply describing a temporary state or expressing an opinion about yourself. You are issuing a direct instruction to the quantum field, declaring the essential nature of your being and, by extension, the reality that you will experience. The words I am activate the creative power within you, establishing a resonance that the universe will inevitably reflect in your external experience. This is not new. In the ancient scriptures, for example, we find references to this power. When Moses asked for the name of the creative force, the answer he received was precisely, I am that I am. not a conventional name, but a declaration of the essential nature of being. Every time you use the expression, I am, you are invoking that same creative power. When you say, I am strong, you are not merely affirming a personal characteristic. You are tuning into the vibrational frequency of the force. When you say, I am abundant, you are instructing the field of reality to reorganize itself into patterns of prosperity around your experience. However, this power works just as effectively when we unconsciously use it in a negative way. Every time you say or think, I am a failure, I am unfortunate, I am poor, or I am incapable, you are issuing equally powerful commands that the field of reality will faithfully obey. This explains why so many people get stuck in recurring cycles of the same negative experiences. They are constantly programming their reality through their internal statements. Internal language constructs external experience because words are much more than arbitrary symbols. They are vehicles of vibrational energy that resonate with specific frequencies in the universal field. When these words are combined with the powerful I am identity statement, they become direct instructions for manifestation. Our material world is literally the echo of our internal dialogue, particularly those conversations that begin with I am. It is crucial to understand that there is a fundamental difference between empty affirmations and statements with emotional conviction. Mindlessly repeating, I am rich, while every cell in your body vibrates at the frequency of scarcity is counterproductive. The field of reality responds not to surface words, but to the energetic vibration that accompanies them. It is the sustained emotion, the felt certainty, that gives power to the statement. This is why profound transformations occur not through affirmations recited without feeling, but through a complete reconfiguration of vibrational identity. When you alter your I am statement from a purely mental level to a level of certainty. Emotional is like going from 0 to 100 in your creative process. Imagine this. Every thought that begins with I am is like planting a seed in the garden of your reality. The emotional quality with which you imbue that statement determines the fertility of the soil. Statements backed by intense emotions are like seeds planted in rich soil, while shallow statements are like seeds poured onto concrete. The relationship we have with the universe is identical to the relationship we have with ourselves. This is not a convenient analogy. It is an accurate description of the energetic mechanics that govern our experience of reality. Think of the universe as an infinite, impersonal, intelligent energy similar to electricity flowing through a circuit. This energy does not judge, does not punish. It does not arbitrarily favor some over others. It simply responds to the configuration of the circuit through which it flows. In this case, the circuit is your consciousness, shaped by your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and perceived identity. This brings us to one of the greatest paradoxes in existence. People who profess a profound love for the universe, yet maintain a judgmental, dismissive relationship with themselves. This fundamental contradiction creates interference in the circuitry of manifestation that no ritual technique or practice can ever hope to solve, can overcome. How could someone genuinely love the universe while hating the individualized expression of that field that is their very being? It's like declaring a deep love for the ocean while detesting the specific wave that you are. Self-punishment is perhaps the greatest obstacle to conscious manifestation. When you make a mistake or perceive a failure, what is your immediate internal response? For many, it is a cascade of harsh self-criticism, relentless judgments, and unfavorable comparisons to others. This internal attack is not just a nasty habit, it is literally a program that instructs the field of reality to reflect that same punishing and limiting energy back onto your external circumstances. When you internally judge yourself as insufficient, you are simultaneously judging the universe as insufficient, since you are an individualized expression of that field. When you condemn yourself for your mistakes, You are condemning the universal intelligence operating through you. Imagine a musician who deeply loves music but detests every note they play. Could this musician ever create a beautiful melody while maintaining such internal conflict? Similarly, how could you manifest a harmonious reality while maintaining a conflicting relationship with yourself? Personal responsibility in the creation of our experience is a concept often misunderstood. It doesn't mean blaming yourself for every difficult situation you face, but rather recognizing your power to consciously relate to those circumstances. True accountability is not a burden. It's the liberating realization that you have the capacity to respond creatively rather than automatically react to any situation. That's what accountability is all about: being accountable, being responsive. When you begin to treat every aspect of your experience as a reflection of your relationship with the universe, revelatory patterns emerge. The areas of your life where you experience abundance, harmony, and flow correspond to aspects where you maintain a relationship of trust and openness with this field. The areas where you experience blockages, conflict, and limitation correspond to aspects where the relationship is characterized by distrust, fear, or judgment. Having established the conceptual foundations of how reality creation works, we now enter practical territory. How do we consciously alter the matrix of our experience? This is not an abstract question, but an invitation to the concrete application of what we have explored so far. To effectively alter reality, we need to understand the essential components that make up your total vibrational field. These components work together, creating a unique resonance that determines which possibilities of the infinite field will manifest in your tangible experience. The first component is the belief system that underpins your perception. Beliefs are not simply opinions that you hold. They are perceptual filters that literally determine what information from the infinite field can enter your consciousness. A limiting belief acts like a firewall, blocking possibilities that exist but are inconsistent with your mental framework. To alter reality, your beliefs must align with the possibilities you wish to manifest. Imagine that you desire to experience financial abundance, but you hold the subconscious belief that money corrupts or that the spiritual is the enemy of the material. These beliefs, even if operating below the threshold of your conscious awareness, will create vibrational interference that neutralizes your conscious intentions. Belief alignment does not involve self-deception, but rather a rigorous questioning of the assumptions you have adopted about what is possible for you. The second component is the direction of your attention. Energy flows where attention is directed, not as a metaphor, but as a physical law of the conscious field. Every time you focus your attention on a specific condition, you are nourishing that potential reality with life force energy. If you constantly direct your attention toward what is lacking, toward what you fear, you are literally feeding those potential realities until they manifest as tangible experiences. Altering reality requires disciplined management of attention, consistently directing it toward what you wish to manifest, not as a fantasy, but as a recognition of real possibilities that exist within the quantum field. This is not a casual practice, but a fundamental reorientation of your awareness from moment to moment. The third component is identity coherence. Identity is not simply who you intellectually believe yourself to be, but the energetic vibration that you emit at the level of being. Every action, decision, and emotional response emanates from your perception of identity. To manifest a new reality, you must embody the vibrational identity consistent with that reality. You cannot create abundance from a scarcity identity, and so on. Identity transformation occurs not through superficial autosuggestion, but through the deliberate practice of energetically inhabiting the being that you already potentially are. It is a shift from "I want to be" to "I am," recognizing that all possibilities already exist within the infinite field of your awareness. The fourth component is emotionally charged thoughts. A thought without emotional charge is like a seed without soil. It contains potential but lacks the medium for germination. Emotion is the fertile soil in which the seeds of thought can grow, develop into tangible manifestations. The quality and intensity of the emotion determines the speed and power of manifestation. This is the element that many approaches to manifestation often overlook. It is not enough to visualize what you desire or repeat affirmations. You must authentically generate the emotional frequency corresponding to what you wish to manifest. If you desire prosperity, you must genuinely cultivate the feeling of gratitude and sufficiency, not from a position of pretense, but as a reality felt in every cell of your being. The final component is unshakable, conviction, that state of inner certainty that transcends external sensory evidence. Conviction is not blind faith or magical thinking. It is an inner knowing rooted in an understanding of how the law of resonance works. It is the certainty that what is vibrationally aligned should manifest not as an exceptional miracle, but as the natural operation of universal laws. What you do with this knowledge determines whether it will remain as interesting intellectual information or become a transformative force in your life. The truth is that each of us is continually altering reality, usually unconsciously. The difference between a life of limitations and one of expanded possibilities.